I'm Jill and I am living the midlife. Today I'd like to talk about optimism. So that we're all on the same page, I'd like to read the definition of optimism from Webster's dictionary. Midlife means readers. Optimism is a tendency to look on the more favorable side or to expect the most favorable outcome of events or conditions. It hit me the other day that I'm not the optimist I used to be. My optimism has slowly eroded over the last several years. In other words, since I hit middle age. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I've lived long enough to recognize political cycles and to see that some things are just never going to change. I understand that there are so many facets to social problems that some of those will never be completely solved, and that's depressing. I read old journals and I see weight and body issues that I struggled with decades ago that are the same as today. I've watched seemingly strong marriages crumble. I've had people that I love let me down. I've let people that I love down. I felt undervalued at work. I have had things in my life that I've hoped for or worked towards that have just not come to fruition. It's no wonder I'm feeling pessimistic and cynical. Selfishly, I gotta say I'm not alone. I think anybody who's reached middle age, which means at least they've made it into their 40s, has navigated a lot of muck, and we have every reason to feel disgruntled or pessimistic or just kind of down on life sometimes. And short bouts of that are totally normal and natural, and we have to acknowledge that, but it's not a way to live your life. And my goal with this channel is to talk about things that we face in middle age, like maybe losing some optimism, but to not wallow in it, but to look towards a more positive outlook. So with that in mind, I thought I would share with you some things that I'm doing to try and get past this pessimism that I've found has sort of nestled inside my heart, because I don't like that. First of all, I'm starting with gratitude. I'm reminding myself of what I'm thankful for. I gotta admit, sometimes I roll my eyes at this one because, you know, when I'm feeling disgruntled, I don't want to have somebody be like, well, you have so much to be thankful for, because I want to go, oh yeah, I know, count your blessings. It sounds like a trite saying, but it's not. You count your blessings because it reminds you that, oh yeah, I already have all this positive stuff in my life. So I'm trying to just several times throughout the day, take a moment to think about, okay, what am I grateful for in this moment? And it might be one thing, it might be 5 things. Those of you who are list makers, you could just dictate a list into the notes on your phone and just keep that an ongoing list. Or set an alarm for several times a day on your phone. And when that alarm goes off, and make it a different sound than your regular alarms or your notifications, that's just your subtle reminder that only you know that, oh, I'm going to take a moment, nobody else needs to know what I'm doing, and I'm going to think of 1 or 5 or 10 things that I am grateful for. I think when we take the time to acknowledge the grace and the blessings and the positive things that are in our lives right now already, it trains us to look for the positive. If that's what you're looking for, that's what you'll see. Another trite saying, seek and you shall find, but it's true. Secondly, surround yourself with positive people. Optimism is contagious, as is pessimism. So if you find that you look around and you go, wow, all my friends are kind of downers, either choose to be the optimist in the group and change the tone, or seek out and find some of your friends who are positive and nurture those relationships. I'm not saying write off your negative friends. They need you. They need your optimism. But we need to nurture ourselves as well. We can do that by hanging out with optimistic people. Next, remind yourself that this too shall pass. Sometimes we are going through truly awful times and there's just no light at the end of the tunnel. It's not just oh, in general, I'm less optimistic. Sometimes life just truly sucks. Maybe you're going through illness, or you're in a bad work situation, or a teenager who's just you're struggling with, or maybe your marriage is falling apart. And that's a hard time to be going through. Don't try and do it on your own. That's what support systems are for. That's what friends are for. We can't always carry this ourselves. Remind yourselves that, you know what, I get credit for getting through this minute or this hour or this day. Some things you can't rush. You just have to go through the process. Like grieving, that is something you cannot rush. It's got its own process and it just takes time. So every day you get through, pat yourself on the back for making it through that day. Talking about support systems and additional strength, you have that in a higher power. If you believe in God, remember that God's shoulders are a whole lot broader than yours. So you can just dump this onto him. I'm a Christian and I forget that all the time. You'd think my natural inclination would be like, God, this, and sometimes I go through my day praying. But usually when I need him the most is when I'm spinning up over something or I am trying to figure out something on my own, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, hey, God, here, help me with this, please. No, my life doesn't suddenly become all roses and daisies and everything is solved, but it definitely helps to have a higher power to lean on. And if you don't believe in God, what have you got to lose? If things are that bad right now, you're not going to be any more miserable by saying, all right, God, if you're there, help, right? And forget the logic that, oh, but if I don't believe, then it's not going to happen. Because you might just be surprised what God can do when you just crack open that window a little bit. Can't hurt. The last thing I am doing to reclaim my optimism is also an example of what a nerd I am. I dug out my childhood copy of Cinderella as a visual reminder of the fact that I tried to emulate her as a child. Now, as an adult, I can look at this story and I know there's a lot of dysfunction going on here, but that is a cynical, pessimistic way to view a fairy tale, and I'm working on my optimism. As a child, I just saw how Cinderella didn't let things get her down. She made the best of a bad situation, and her continuous hope and dreams and optimism paid off in the end. So as an adult, what I'm doing is looking at this book and reminding myself that at my core, I am a hopeful, optimistic person. And the truth is, I like myself better that way. If you have any comments or questions about optimism that you would like to share, feel free to write them in the comments below. Feel free to click the little thumbs up underneath the video and like the video. And if you want to subscribe, you can click on the little circle that should be right around here with my picture, and you can subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time on Living the Midlife. Bye-bye. Those mice are so cute. They would freak me out if they were all over my kitchen. Germs all over the place.